Indira Gandhi National Open University presents a program titled Collaborative Learning Strategies in Child-Friendly Classroom as part of its certificate program for professional development of primary teachers. The course code for the program is BESL 057.
Hello friends, the National Curriculum Framework 2005 upholds the need for learning to be through teamwork and requires learning in classrooms to shift from individualized reception of knowledge transmitted by the teacher to construction of knowledge in a social context. So children are supposed to be working in teams and collectively construct knowledge through dialogues, discussions, interactions, and basically through teamwork. The knowledge society also requires people to work collaboratively and upholds collaboration over competition. Therefore, gone are the days when children would learn individually and compete with their peers. Today, they are supposed to be working with their peers for learning. Of course, the teacher has a definite and a significant role in facilitating collaborative learning, and today we shall discuss this aspect in this program, which is entitled Collaborative Learning Strategies in Child-Friendly Classrooms. I, Shutapa Bose from the School of Education IGNOU, have with me Professor D. Venkateshwaralu. He is also from the School of Education IGNOU. I would like to ask Professor D. Venkateshwaralu, what is the meaning of collaborative learning? How will you explain it?
In simple terms, collaborative learning is a method of teaching learning wherein students learn by helping each other learn. Here, cooperation, participation and interaction are cornerstone of the collaborative learning method. It basically promotes cooperation, positive interdependence, individual accountability, shared leadership and shared responsibility for self and others. And here I want to add, basically it is even a skill. We can say method of learning. Basically it involves collaboration, cooperation among the learners who help each other and learn with the help of others also. That is what we say collaborative learning.
What I feel is that this particular requirement of being able to work as a team, this also has a strong theoretical underpinning which upholds that knowledge construction happens in social settings. And we also know that there are theorists who say that meaning is developed first in a social context and then after that it is internalized at an individual level. There is also a view of social constructionism, somewhat similar to social constructivism, but it says that as a team, the members may pool their efforts and they may construct artifacts. So basically we see that children are nowadays being encouraged to work as teams. And I would like to ask you now, what are the benefits of collaborative approaches? Why should children work as teams?
As you rightly said, now constructivism is a change from, we have moved away from behavioral model to constructivist approach where children learn by doing. So this is the emphasis of these collaborative approaches where it will, by collaboration, it improves the quality of learning experiences for children. It promotes critical thinking and problem solving, improve oral communication skills, empathy, social interaction, gender sensitivity, self-management and leadership skills. Collaborative work not only helps in cognitive learning but also in affective development in children, as they learn to control their emotions, listen to others' points of views, put their own views, share decisions and take leadership roles. So in this way, it helps teamwork, team spirit to achieve a goal. And the process, they share, they respect others, they collaborate. All this is what constructivist approach basically says. Children learn by doing. This is called experiential learning.
So this helps not only in constructing knowledge but also in developing the right attitudes, the attitudes that are the requirement of the 21st century. We know that we are now progressing towards a knowledge society, and in knowledge society, more than competition, collaboration is required. So children right from their childhood, they would be developing the necessary attitudes. The teachers would help them in developing the necessary attitudes for teamwork, because when they grow up and are adults and are working in their offices classes or in their respective occupations and professions, they would again have to work as a team. And so the grounding is being done from their childhood itself. And now I would like to ask you, how can the teacher organize collaborative activities and what would be the role of the teacher?
Collaborative activities basically planned in pairs. That is one method we say peer tutoring, that is interaction which involves. Then the other one is small cooperative groups having more than 2 children. But by just putting children into various groups and assigning some tasks does not mean that it will automatically lead to collaboration. We have to work out how these groups, either in pairs or in small cooperative groups. As a teacher, we have to facilitate discussion, reflective thinking individually and in a group, and clarifying doubts, etc. For example, prompts like, why do you feel it is important? Then what would happen if such kind of questions should be posed to children to express their ideas, reflect on various alternatives and build their own understanding of the concept. Teachers must provide an interactive environment where children can freely express themselves, ask questions and put forward their own viewpoints. Teachers should monitor the activities and provide feedback and assistance periodically. Then only this method will work for the benefit of the students. And even the research and whatever the best method we can use for group learning is collaborative and cooperative approaches. And it has been proved that for science and mathematics, children need to work in groups so that they learn better. So these are, I think, the best approaches we have.
I think the teacher has a very positive role to play and she has to be quite active while she facilitates collaborative learning. Even in a homogeneous setting, group may have some amount of heterogeneity and therefore children may not be alike. They may be having different sorts of abilities and moreover there may be attitudinal differences also. And in that case, I think the teacher has got a very definite role to play. She has to see to it that they are equal participants. If not equal, at least all of them are participants in the learning process. And as you have said that in teaching of science and teaching of maths, collaborative learning is very important. I feel that it is equally important while the teacher is teaching languages. Because you see, communication. Language is basically the development of a habit and more the children get the opportunity to communicate with their peers, because when they are communicating with their teachers, they may have some kind of inhibition. But they are not so inhibited when they are communicating with their peers and they feel more free. So this kind of opportunity, if it is provided to the children so that they can carry out group work and thereby they are interacting, they are communicating amongst themselves, then that would also help. That would also be a kind of collaborative learning which would be quite useful for learning languages. I would also like to ask you, collaborative and cooperative learning strategies facilitate active learning. That is what you have been saying. How does this happen?
Basically, these are peer group learning strategies where children think and work as a community of learners, sharing their experiences and resources. Children feel motivated and develop interest while working in groups. And as you have rightly said, it is a heterogeneous group. And we try to see that learners of different ability and achievement levels are placed in a group so that children learn from each other. Because they are of different ability levels. That is why this method even works well with children with special needs also. And for inclusive classes, this is the best method because children learn from one another. And this interaction helps them to learn better. And they are curious to know new things and also to share their experiences with others. Children feel motivated and develop interest while working in groups. Social interaction facilitates learning. Every child is curious to know new things and also to share his or her experiences with others. Children working together and helping each other through collaborative and cooperative learning situations, they develop team spirit, learn to respect others' ideas and also to accept each other as a member of the learning community. They learn to take collective decisions. Group work also gives opportunities to express their emotions, likes and dislikes and to understand others' emotions. This mutual cooperation helps in the social and emotional development of the children. So that is how we should plan these activities so that proper learning takes place. That is the role of the teacher, and it facilitates active learning among children.
I would like to supplement what you have already said with an example, and I would also like to say that collaborative learning happens not only just within the classroom, but it can also involve children from different classrooms, from different grades. For instance, I have read a case study in which a teacher had asked the children of higher classes to read out storybooks to the children of lower classes. Thereby, he developed the reading skills of children of the higher classes and developed the listening skills of children of lower classes. So, this helped him in teaching language. And what I feel is that you were saying that children, while learning collaboratively, would learn to respect each other's views and they would accept each other as members of the learning community. And this is precisely what the fifth guideline of the NCF 2005 says. It requires that democracy should not just be a form of governance, but it should also be a way of life, and this can be put into practice from theory, or we may say that from what it is there in text. If it is to be brought down to practice, then collaborative learning experiences are quite useful, because through day-to-day practice, through day-to-day collaborative activities, definitely democracy would then be a way of life. And at this point, I would also like to ask you, would you explain to us why peer interaction is the best way to share one's own knowledge? And for this, I would also request you to give us an example.
Definitely. Peer interaction is the best way to share one's own constructed knowledge. It refers to the way information or knowledge is stored in the mind. Peer interaction provides opportunity to children to express their views and learn from each other, as well as improve their social skills and emotions. Peer tutoring is a method of cooperative learning based on creation of pairs of children sharing common goals. Peer tutoring may be same age tutoring or cross age tutoring, what you are just referring. A senior class student can also help a lower class children in this method. For example, we say peer interaction is one of the best method, sharing one's own knowledge. For example, Joseph and Jatin are playing with blocks. They are building the structure of their school. While building the blocks, they are interacting with each other. This game encompasses a lot of concept learning. The two are discussing with each other about the shape to be used, the color to match the building, number of blocks needed. Through this interaction, they are familiarizing themselves with various mathematical concepts such as shape, height, color, number, and size differentiation. While discussing about the construction of different rooms in a school, they develop their mental ability like creativity, space, sense, relationship, etc. In addition, doing this activity increases their vocabulary and eye-hand coordination. So that is why we see in the process of block building, they learn, they share, they learn concepts, they learn shapes, sizes, height, color. So many concepts are learnt and they differ also. So all these processes are taking place in this method, peer interaction. And also it increases vocabulary, eye-hand coordination. Almost in a single method, if we cover all these things, I think that is why it is called one of the best method of learning. That is called peer interaction.
So we may say that teacher and the textbook cease to be the only source of information, and experiences and reflection of various individuals being involved, peers also become sources of information and help in processing it to construct knowledge. So during collaborative learning, we may say that there are multiple sources of information. I would also ask you, what are the different forms of peer structures available and the peer structures that can be adopted to facilitate learning?
Even though there are two types, but we can group them into various ways, because it is basically a learning which is taking place either in two or more than two. The first one is think, pair, share. This is given by Lehman in 1981. This is think about the question individually, pair with a partner, explain your answer and listen to your partner's response, share your answer or your partner's if called upon. The other method is formulate, share, listen, create. This is given by Johnson, one of the proponents of this method of learning. And he is very famous for this cooperative learning. They formulate your answer to the question individually, share your answer with your partner, listen carefully to your partner's answer, note similarities and differences in your answer, create a new answer that incorporates the new ideas. Be prepared to present your answer if called upon. So these are the two methods, two types of pairs we can make. Otherwise, it is up to us. We can make different groups. Only thing we should see that the basic tenets of this approach are followed in that group. Interaction, then cooperation, then all sharing, all those what we have discussed till now. So these are the two specific types given by eminent people in the field who worked for this method.
Now we see that in schools, assigning projects is quite common. Almost every school is assigning project work, holiday homeworks during summer vacation, and otherwise also projects are being assigned. Many times we find that projects are being carried out individually by students. So instead of that, if the projects are assigned to groups, of course many schools are doing this, they are practicing this, and while preparing report also, if the members of a group could pool in their efforts and prepare a report, then that would involve teamwork. So we don't have to think that they would be cheating from each other, because there is no reason for them to copy from one another, but they would be pooling their ideas, they would be sharing their resources, physical resources, and also the different kinds of resources they may be having, and preparing the report. And I would also ask you, what is cooperative learning? And you may also tell us the commonly used cooperative learning strategies in schools.
Learning by cooperation is the cornerstone of cooperative learning. It implies a setting in which children from diverse groups with varied abilities and achievement levels work together to share common experiences. As we have already discussed, one is peer interaction, the other method is cooperative learning. In peer interaction, pairs, but in cooperative learning, we have more than two children. And the basic thing in cooperative learning is that you see that children with varied abilities are there in that particular group. And children of primary level enjoy working in groups. There are number of cooperative learning strategies used in schools, including project method, problem solving, investigatory approach, survey method, journal writing, folk tales, and team games. These methods can be used in all the curricular areas. As you said, you have added language also. So for any subject area, we can use these methods, cooperative learning methods, so that they learn in a better way. So this is how cooperative learning works. And we basically, whatever, these are all methods, project method, problem solving, investigatory approach, all these are all team based, survey method, even journal writing. So you involve some children for each of the project or problem solving, then they learn better and the outcome will be beneficial to all of them, those who are in that particular group. So this is how these methods work.
And what are the steps that can be taken in a cooperative learning strategy?
Basically these are all, I said, cooperative learning methods. We can use it in different ways, but the steps followed in this cooperative learning method, number one, it starts with develop each lesson through activities. You have to plan which one you take an activity and you have to plan it out. Number one, then next divide these activities as full class activities, group activities, and individual activities. Then organize the class into groups. Children should be provided some practice of working in groups and in whole class learning situations. Assign learning tasks to each group. In the group, students should have some task to do and each child should get the opportunity to speak. This is the beauty of this method of learning, because everybody has a responsibility and everybody has to do something. For example, I remember when I worked with the cooperative learning method for mathematics learning. So I experimented with geometry, and if we have to measure the length, the area of a class blackboard. So how we do it? in this cooperative learning method. Somebody measures the length, somebody measures the area, and somebody multiplies, and somebody calculates, and somebody comes with the result. So this is how you involve all children in cooperative learning methods. And time management is important in group activities. Children should be told to honor the time given for a particular activity. The teacher must see how the children are progressing on the learning task. So this is how these steps are planned for each activity. And if it is planned very well, and this method will work with all kinds of children, that is why we call these methods as best method.
We have just heard Professor Venkateshwarlu. He has explained the need for collaborative learning and collaborative learning strategies. It is very true that today we make children compete. Many of us want to develop in them the spirit of aggressive competitiveness. But we forget that human being is a social animal, and until and unless children learn to collaborate, as adults they may find it extremely difficult to remain social and helpful. Therefore, the need for collaborative learning. Thank you.
You were listening to a program on the topic Collaborative Learning Strategies in Child-Friendly Classroom. The content coordinator for the program was Dr. Gaurav Singh. Audio recording was done by Parvesh Kumari and Archana, edited by Sadan Lal, and produced by Reena Boro. This is an ICNO EMPC presentation 2014.